the plan. But I want to talk a little Cincinnati Bengals, covers the Bengals for The Athletic. We got Jay Morrison hanging out with us here today. Jay, it's been a while, sir. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Jay, we were joking a little bit ago that, it's interesting that, a lot of Browns fans, Steelers fans, Bengals fans, Lamar, don't pay him. He's not, I can't believe he wants that much money. You can't pay him that much money, but yet everyone is excited to potentially see him leave Baltimore. Obviously, he hasn't left Baltimore yet, but you covering this from afar, have we seen the last of Lamar versus the Bengals as far as him in a Ravens uniform?
I don't know. That's a great question. I mean, there's so much that goes into it. Well, they're not with them using the non-exclusive tag. Now it's open. Somebody can swoop in. If the Ravens are playing chicken, they can lose this because they are over the cap at this point. So if a team wants to swoop in and pay him the same or a little more and front load it with guaranteed money, they're stuck. There's nothing they can do, and they're going to basically just have to let him go to that team. They will get 2 first-round picks, but that offense, and I know they just hired a new offensive coordinator, but that offense was built around Lamar Jackson. They don't have a lot of wide receivers right now, so it could set them back. This is really interesting to see how this is going to play out, because I think Lamar's not happy about the situation as is. I kind of have a feeling getting the non-exclusive tag, he's going to take that a little personal.
Why? I mean, can you think of the last time a team we've thought we were close to seeing it with the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. I'd still take Lamar over Dak, but I can't think of a time where a team has just let a start in the NBA. I mean, you see in baseball from time to time, obviously much different structure over there, but the NBA and obviously the NFL, we just don't see often where these markets get these elite players and then just say, no, we'll just let them walk. I mean, this is kind of unprecedented watching what's happening in Baltimore.
Well, I mean, you see it with other positions, but you're right. You don't see it at quarterback. You keep the quarterback at all costs, and if you can't afford to keep Devontae Adams, you let him go. If you can't afford to keep Tyreek Hill, you let him go. But the quarterback is the most important position, really, in all of sports. And I'm with you. I don't know that we've ever seen this. Even Kirk Cousins has been tagged a few times, but it's never been that non-exclusive where they've kind of dared other teams to come in and pluck him. It seems really contentious, and you just wonder how, even if he stays in Baltimore, how is that relationship going to be repaired?
Jay, all this basically goes back to the Cincinnati Bengals because their quarterback, Joe Burrow, he's up next.
You would assume so, but there's 3. You also have Jalen Hurts. You have Justin Herbert. There's other quarterbacks from that 2020 class. Is that a game of chicken? Are they waiting each other out? Because you basically figure whoever signs last is going to each new contract kind of resets the market. I don't know if another team's going to pay if Burrow goes first. I don't know if the Chargers are going to top it for Herbert or the Eagles are going to top it for Hurts. But it is interesting. I think we've assumed this is a rubber stamp deal and it's going to happen. And kind of people thought it would happen before free agency, so they would know where they stood going into free agency. But an interesting point with the Burrow deal is whatever they give him in guaranteed money, they have to put in escrow. And that has to go into escrow as of the next March 31st. So if they wait till April 1st this year and give him, say, $200 million in guaranteed money, they don't have to put that money into escrow until March 31st of 2024. So I think you're going to see the Bengals wait past that March 31st date this year and kind of get another year of payment from Paycor and some more sponsors and get some more cash in hand to get the guaranteed money in escrow.
So myself included, for people that hear the term escrow, I really only see that term escrow when I pay my mortgage every month, and I still barely know what it means. What does that exactly mean?
Well, you have cash on hand. So if they say they're going to give Joe Burrow $200 million guaranteed, they have to prove they have $200 million guaranteed, and they put it in escrow. It's held, and that way you know that Joe Burrow is going to get it eventually. That's why, I mean, let's face it, that's why they took Mike Brown's father's name off the stadium. They had to come up with this cash, and just like you think with the Burrow contract, they're going to backload it a little bit. The cap hit's not going to be that big early on. The naming rights deal for Paycor was front loaded. So the bulk of whatever that final number was that Paycor paid to put their name on the stadium, most of that money is being paid in year 1 and year 2 with this whole Joe Burrow contract in mind.
Got it.
We have Jay Morrison with The Athletic, covers the Cincinnati Bengals. The timing with this Lamar Jackson drama in Baltimore, you go back to the timeline. And what's interesting about, real quick, to tie this into Cincinnati a bit, like you brought it up a little bit ago, Jay, everything seems to be smooth sailing right now. Like all the, you have management, upper management saying all the right things about getting the deal done with Burrow and teammates. I'll talk about this deal getting done. But they did a little special this morning on the Ravens on Get Up, and they go back over the last couple of years, and everything started smooth in Baltimore as well. I'm not stirring the pot. I'm not saying this is going to happen in Cincinnati, but is that the vibe right now, that everything is smooth? I mean, you cover this team, you have these conversations. What's your gut telling you as far as how comfortable of a negotiation that this is going to be as far as Joe Burrow's camp working it out with Cincinnati and the Bengals front office?
Well, that's the key word right there, Joe Burrow's camp, because he has a camp. He has an agent. Lamar Jackson didn't have an agent. I think that's what blew this whole thing up. I think if he had an agent in his ear, he'd be like, look, this is you might think you're worth this much, or sometimes you got to take a little less. The Burrow thing, the Bengals have been structuring this going back to last year. They've been getting this all put in place. And then so when it gets to this point now where you really start negotiating, you're not talking about sides that are really far apart. They have a pretty good idea where they want to be. Burrow's camp has a good idea where they want to be. It's just going to be about the specifics of the deal. So I don't see Joe Burrow, not only say holding him hostage, but holding out and trying to nickel and dime him and get every little ounce out of this. You assume that he has this mindset of knowing that structuring it the right way is going to keep the core of this team together at least for a few more years. And it does just seem like I'd be stunned if we got to training camp and it's not done. And really, I think we're going to see that happen even before they break for the summer break.
So we get that a lot, Jay. Bengals fans will call in the discount. He's going to give him a discount. I know we had Keyshawn Johnson on a while back, and he was joking, saying, well, he's going to get a discount. Instead of, 50 mil, he'll take 48 mil or something. Like, he goes, there's your discount. But and that's not what you're saying. You're not saying discount, but you're just saying that it's not going to be that full out, like, this is my demands, this is what I want, it's take it or leave it, this is what I need. He's not going to nickel and dime him. What is it about Joe Burrow that you're getting that vibe that this isn't going to be a situation where it kind of ravels into, well, hey, Deshaun got this, Lamar's about to get this, Aaron Rodgers has this, Patrick Mahomes has this? What is it about this situation that you feel like it's not going to turn into that he's not going to nickel and dime them for every little thing? Is it just basically like what you said, the awareness of the situation with who he's playing for?
Maybe a little bit that, but it's just what you see with Joe Burrow. A lot of people say the most important thing is wins, and they mean after money. Mm-hmm. But with Joe Burrow, it really feels like winning is the most important thing, and he has an understanding and that if he structures this correctly, and it's not about what the total amount of money is, it's about how it's layered and guarantees and signing bonuses and all that. And if he wants to keep T. Higgins and Jamar Chase here and all the other pieces that they would like to keep, then he has the realization of how this needs to play out. And it's not either way, it's not going to be huge this year, and it's not going to be all that big next year. It's that third year. It's 2025 when then you see that annual, that salary for that particular season get up in the 30, 35 range, and then the hard decisions have to be made. So anybody that thinks that, as soon as he signs this massive deal this offseason, all of a sudden they're not going to be able to afford anybody, that's not the case. They're still going to be in pretty good shape to get pieces to keep the Super Bowl contending unit together for 2-3 years, and then it gets hard.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. This Joe Mixon situation is interesting to me. I've been trying to, anytime a headline comes out about him right now, Jay, I always try to slow down a bit, because every time something comes out, it's always retracted, or, hey, maybe the headline was more aggressive than what's actually going on. But this is the second incident involving a firearm since the offseason started, and the offseason hasn't been that long. I don't know what all happened with this situation last night, and I more so care about his future in Cincinnati as a Cincinnati Bengal. I thought his future was kind of in flux heading into the offseason. Are some of these offseason little hangups that he's finding himself in making it a little bit easier for the Bengals to move on from Joe Mixon?
Oh yeah, I think it would make it easier. We still don't know about last night. I mean, all we know is something happened around his residence, and yes, there was a gun, but the injury of the teenager, we don't know that he was shot or he got hurt some other way. We don't know that Joe Mixon was the one that fired the gun. It's still that investigation is in its infancy. The other one is open. It's been about a month since they tabled it and wanted to go back in and reinvestigate and do it properly because they kind of botched it early. But yeah, it's just the whole perception is reality thing, where even if he's not guilty of anything, these stories are out there, and it makes it easier. There's no way they're going to pay him $12.8 million this year. So it feels like the choices are going to go to him. They're going to say, we want you to take a pay cut. He's probably going to tell them to take a hike, and we're going to see them move on from him. And the real question here is, do these incidents affect him getting a job elsewhere? Because let's not forget the thing that happened right before he even came into the NFL at Oklahoma when he hit the woman. So a lot of red flags flying on the Joe Mixon mast right now, and it feels like his time in Cincinnati is done. Maybe in the NFL he's going to be untouchable after these.
With the Cincinnati Bengals draft pick, would they try to replace him with a young running back like Jahmyr Gibbs from Bama or Bijan Robinson from Texas? Would they go that route in the first round?
I'd be stunned if Bijan was there at 28. If he fell to them, I don't think they would hesitate to take him.
Yeah, I don't want that, Jay. I don't want that to happen. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm keeping an eye on that.
Well, yeah, and I don't think it should. But you look, I mean, their sweet spot for running backs recently has been second round. Mixon, whatever we just said about him, he's been a productive back. Giovanni Bernard was second round. Jeremy Hill was second round. I think not necessarily second round this year, but they're going to get a guy fairly early and maybe another one late and probably another one in undrafted free agency. You've seen that you can get these guys from anywhere and have them be productive. You look at the Super Bowl champs. They get Isaiah Pacheco in the 7th round. You see this all the time where undrafted free agents come in and make an impact. You look at the Eagles, they're never paying second contracts to running backs, and they just load up that backfield with quality mid-range guys. So the bigger question here is, do they hold on to P. Ryan? Can they re-sign him? I think they will. And then you're going to see them throw various darts and try to find either a lead back or a complement to Samaje.
Jay Morrison with The Athletic covers the Cincinnati Bengals. Jay, we appreciate your time today. Just last thing on look, when the combine started, of course, all GMs and with the media scrums and everything, we heard obviously early on, but there was kind of a quiet combine for the Cincinnati Bengals. Is it going to be a quiet combine, or is it going to be a quiet offseason for the Cincinnati Bengals? It sounds like, or appears like it's going to be a lot of just internal restructuring of stuff. Am I right in saying that? I mean, we've seen some exciting off seasons, a lot of spending over the last 2 or 3 years for the Bengals since drafting Joe Burrow. Is this, this off season, even though they have a lot of cap space, how much of that do you see them really utilizing in the free agent market?
Yeah, they're gonna focus on bringing back their own guys like Von Bell and Hayden Hurst and P. Ryan, and then you're talking third wave guys where you can kind of bolster the depth. I wouldn't be surprised. Next week, the tampering is Monday and Tuesday. The actual league year starts Wednesday. I would not be surprised if we do not see the Bengals sign any outside free agents next week, and then it's that following week when they're looking for the bargains. Let's not say scrap heap, but there's guys out there that are quality players that are not going to get what they thought they were going to get, and then maybe they are more than happy to take a couple million less per year to come to Cincinnati and play with a team that has Joe Burrow and all these weapons.
Fair enough. Kev, you got anything else before we let Jay go? Didn't think so. Okay, cool. Jay, you the best. Appreciate it. Yeah, I know the last couple off seasons have been very busy for the Bengals, and I guess a quiet and boring off season is a good thing. That means there's not a whole lot of change, and when you're one play away from getting back to your second straight Super Bowl, not a whole lot of change is possibly a good thing. So, Jay, appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys.
Later. All right, good stuff, Jay Morrison.